Oh, by gosh, by golly. It's time for another episode of 25 Days of Christmas Comics. I am your host, the Dude Without Fear, and this is day 10 of our 25-day Christmas comic event. If you've been watching since day one, I greatly appreciate you tuning in every night. I hope that you have been enjoying the series. So, in selecting the comics that I read for the program, I've tried to select characters that are not just the same characters. I'm trying to have a wide variety of characters so that I hit on a lot of different characters because some people like other characters more than others. Everybody has their favorites. And so I'm trying to appeal to everybody, give everybody a fair shot. And so tonight our story will be featuring a character that we haven't yet touched on, and you actually not only get one, but you get two. And our story tonight comes from The Flash, number 73, and it features Wally West Flash as well as Jay Garrick Flash in a story called One Perfect Gift. So, our story starts out. Can you guess what day our story takes place on? Go ahead, say it out loud. You idiots. No, it's Christmas Eve, like every other comic that we've read. Yeah, it's on Christmas Eve. So, Wally West is decorating the Christmas tree, and he's trying to get it perfect. He's like, oh, there's two red ornaments over here. I gotta move one over here. Oh, now there's too many blue on this side, and he keeps going back and forth. You know how that goes when you're decorating the Christmas tree. And Linda comes over and is like, hey, calm down, dude. It's perfect. Leave it alone. Some of us are over here trying to watch football. And she's like, why can't you just sit still for a change? And he's like, I'm bored. She goes, then go help Joan. Some of us are trying to watch football, Wally. And so he goes into the kitchen where Joan and Jay Garrick are preparing Christmas Eve dinner. And he asks, hey, can we open presents now? And Joan says, after dinner, sweetheart. And Jay's like, he's like the son we never had, isn't he? And Joan says, I'm so glad he and his little girlfriend are here, Jay. It feels like a real family Christmas. And then Wally pops his head back in. Anything I can do to help? Joan says, not a thing, dear. Jay says, and energetic. He's awfully energetic. And Joan says, I love him dearly. He's always so well-meaning. And then Wally pops his head back in again. You're sure it would go faster? I'm sure, dear. Then she goes over to Jay and she says, get him out of the house before I kill him. And Jay picks up his Flash hat, says, gotcha. And so he grabs Wally and says, come on, Junior, let's go put some peace on Earth. And so they suit up and they go running through town. So Wally tells Jay, it's been a long time since you and I have celebrated the season together, hasn't it? And Jay says, too long. I've missed you, Junior. You've really grown up. New life, new costume, a steady girl. Says, that Linda's really something. What's under the tree for her? Joan thought maybe a ring. This woman is slipping on ice and about to drop all of her presents that she's carrying. And Wally runs up and catches her and catches the gifts. And he's like, whoa, even I move only so fast. We're only just now figuring out where this relationship is going, you know. I hate to rush things. And Jay says, oh, please. Fine, let's change the subject. What does Wally West want for Christmas? And Wally's like, I don't know. And they run into a soup kitchen, and they're helping serve uh, the less fortunate while talking. And Jay says, "Really? Somehow I expected more enthusiasm." And Wally says, it's weird getting older, you know? When you're a kid, Christmas is about presents. All it takes to make you happy is that really cool baseball mitt. But growing up changes everything in time. Another December rolls around and boom, Christmas suddenly stops being about Santa and starts being about family and friends. Jay says, "And isn't that the way it should be?" And then they stop to help this old man shovel snow off the front of his business. And Wally says, "Oh, absolutely." And Jay's like, "But." And Wally sighs and he says, "But I hope I can say this without sounding like a spoiled jerk, but there's this tiny part of me that misses the thrill of the baseball mitt, you know? The older I become, the further away I get from the idea that amid all the sweaters and handkerchiefs, Santa's still tagged something special just for me. One simple perfect gift that's going to knock my socks. Excuse me." And he runs and pulls this woman out from in front of this car that's about to hit her on the snow-covered road. And Jay says, "Oh man, good eye." And she's freaking out. And Wally says, "Thanks, Jay. This woman's delirious." And she just keeps saying Joey. And Wally's like, "Joey, is that somebody we can call?" And Wally takes her inside of this church that they're actually in front of. And she says, "No, I have to stop him before it's too late." And Wally tells her to slow down. "Too late for what? Who's Joey?" And she's like, he's my husband. He works part-time at Boone's department store, but tonight's his last night, and he can't find other work. He's tried so hard, but nobody is hiring." And she holds up her locket, and it's got a picture of her and him and a heart. She says, "Joey's never done anything bad, but he met some men, and they talked him into helping rob the store's night deposit after closing. He didn't want to do it, but he says he's got no choice. Says he has to provide for his family. I told him he can't provide for anybody if he's in prison, but he wouldn't." And then she screams out in pain. And then Wally says, "My God, Jay, this poor girl's in labor. We've got to get her to a hospital." And Jay looks out the door at the storm. I mean, it's snowing really hard. And he says, "At super speed, I wouldn't be moving her under any circumstances, Junior. If the baby were to shift, believe me, she'll be safer." And he runs out and comes back with a doctor. He says, "If we bring the doctors," and then he brings another doctor to her. And then they attend to her. And Jay says to Wally, "So me or you?" And Wally says, "Me. You stay here with her. I'll help Joey." Wally runs off to the department store where Joey's working, and it closes in 10 minutes. So he's running off, and he thinks he's got all the time in the world because he's the fastest man alive. And he says, "One Christmas miracle coming up. I can blow in and out of Boone's before anyone knows I'm here." And we just see this massive Christmas Eve crowd of last minute shoppers. And he realizes that he might be in trouble. So he starts tracking down Joey. He runs through every department, every nook and cranny of this place, and he can't find Joey. Not even in the stock room, nowhere. And then we see, it's a department store, so there's kids with meeting Santa and getting their picture taken and telling Santa what they want for Christmas and everything. And so while Flash is doing all this, the store's about to close. So Santa is closing up shop, and so he speaks to the last kid for the night. And so he's getting up to leave, and this kid says, "But Santa," and Santa says, "Sorry, son. Santa Claus is due back at the North Pole." And so he picks up his sack and throws it over his back and starts to walk out. Meanwhile, Flash is still looking for Joey. He says, "By the third time around, I start counting heads. 361 clerks working here tonight, and I've checked out every single one of them." And then he sees a picture of Santa on the wall, and he's like, or have I? And he runs back. He's like, "Dummy, there's one employee who's been right under your nose the entire time, the only one whose true face you haven't seen. It's got to be him." And so he runs, and the girl that was, Santa's elf is closing up the workshop. And Flash says, "Santa, where is he?" And she goes, "Joey? I don't know. I think he knocked off for the night. Say, aren't you a little old for?" And Flash shoots out of there. Flash is giving himself a hard time, claiming that he's got some great detective skills there. Meanwhile, the manager asks the girl that was helping Joey, he asked her to get on the PA system because they have a missing 5-year-old. And so Joey is he's in the manager's office, breaks into it, and there's all this money stacked up on the table that they're getting ready to deposit. And he's got this look on his face that he really doesn't want to do it, and he whispers, "Forgive me." And he packs the money in the sack and walks out, and he whispers to himself, "I love you, Maria. Just know that this is all for the best. It's all for the best." And he walks out, and he's waiting to meet the guys that he's stealing the money for out back. And he feels a tug on the bag, and he hears, "Santa, there you are." And he turns around, and it's the little boy that he didn't get to talk to. He says, "You didn't hear what I wanted." And Joey says, "Oh, geez, kid, you can't be here. You gotta go." And he says, "But Santa, please, it's not for me. It's for my mommy. She's so sad all the time. You've got to bring her something nice." And he gets down on one knee and he says, "Well, what about your dad? He'll take care of your mom." And the boy says, "No, I wrote it in my letter, Santa. Don't you remember? That's why mommy's so sad. Daddy's not with us anymore. He's in jail." And that really hits Joey right in the feels. Kind of wakes him up. And so he starts to walk back in with the boy. Says, "All right, let's go find your mom. First, though, Santa's got to put something back where he found it." And as they're walking in, a car pulls up. And it's these dudes that he was meeting, and they get out. And they ask him if he's got the stuff. And he's like, "Listen, I can't do this. It's wrong." And they say, "It feels right to me." It's like, "We got too much at stake to leave without that bankroll, bud. Reconsider if you want, but bear in mind, this don't have to be no silent night." And he pushes the boy, and he says, "Run, kid." And they pull out their guns, and they say, "Wrong move, Joey. Burn him, boys." And he grabs the kid and clutches him to his chest and turns his back to the guys, hoping to stop any bullets from hitting the boy. And suddenly we see this yellow and red blur go behind him, and they look at their guns and they see that Joey's still fine. They look at their guns and they're like, nothing happened. I don't get it. He should be dead. And Flash says, wow, there's the Christmas spirit for you. Santa hands out lumps of coal for talk like that. Me, I just hand out lumps. And Flash makes quick work of the guys. I mean, they're nothing for him. And he looks at Joey and he says, where are you headed, Joey? And he says, I have to take something back and make some apologies. And Flash picks up the boy. He says, you leave that to me. I know what happened here tonight, Joey. I'll smooth things over once I help Shorty here find his mom. You got other things to attend to, like a wife and child. He goes, Maria, she must be worried. And he realizes he said child. He's like, child? He's like, where? He goes, that way, 2 blocks over. You can't miss it, trust me. So he runs off into the snow, into the night, yelling for his wife. He's just calling out, Maria, Maria, where are you? And then he comes to the church and he sees like this bright, shining star above the church. And he just instinctively knows that she's there. And he goes in and you see the doctors and Jay. And you see Maria holding their newborn baby. And then we go back to the Garrick's home. And Wally's telling Linda and Joan the story of what happened. He says, miracle of miracles, provided Joey keeps his nose clean, the store manager offered to keep him on part-time until he finds other work. Linda says, wow, that's a pretty understanding manager. No kidding. And Jay's like, yeah, well, chalk it up to the season, I guess. And then Wally, he says, and Jay, what a wild man. Pulling in doctors, bringing in equipment, taking Maria through the delivery. You were a godsend. Jay says, the baby was the godsend, Junior. I was just along for the ride. He says, it's gotten awfully late, hasn't it? Maybe we should just open all these presents tomorrow. What do you think, Joan? Joan says, there's an idea. Linda yawns and says, I'm with you, Jay. And Wally's just like, And Linda's like, that face, wow. She's like, relax, Red, we're just pulling your chain. And she hands him a gift. She's like, here, from me to you. And he's like, he shakes it. He's like, doesn't shake. What could it be? And she says, I really didn't know what to get you, Wally. I really hope that you like it. And he opens it up, and it's a baseball mitt. And he says, it's perfect. Come here, you. And they kiss, and the doorbell rings, and they say, who could this be this time of night? And Joan's like, I don't know. Maybe Santa's decided to forego the chimney this year. Wally, you're expecting a visit from the man in red? He's like, you kidding? I can't imagine anything he could bring me that would be better than what I've already gotten. And then they open the door, and Barry Allen says, Merry Christmas, all. And our Christmas issue ends, but a new story arc begins. So this last page isn't super relevant to the story, but that's the comic. I really want to read what's after that because I've heard that story is really good. But so Wally talking to Jay about getting that perfect Christmas gift, like when you're a kid, it's all about the presents, and you just want that baseball mitt, and as you get older, it becomes less about that and more about family and friends and all that crap. And so when Linda gives him the baseball mitt, and it's secretly, I don't know that he wanted a baseball mitt, you know what I mean? But that gift is the perfect gift for him because it just brings back that memory of getting those really rad gifts. And it makes him feel like a kid again. It helps him to not feel the pressures of being an adult, and it allows him to just be a kid for that moment. So to me, that's what this story tells us, is to not get caught up in the things that make Christmas different as an adult, but to keep yourself a kid at heart, and enjoy the childlike aspects of Christmas. Enjoy the gifts and enjoy the. See, as a kid, it is all about the gifts. You're like, oh man, these gifts are going to rock. You play the new PlayStation. It's going to be sweet. But as you get older, you can not only appreciate the gift, but you can also appreciate the thought behind the gift. And so, while Wally thinks that as you get older, it kind of takes some of the magic away from Christmas, but I think it's the opposite. I think as you get older, you get the gift, but you can also understand the thought behind the gift. And in that thought behind the gift, you can really tell, you can really understand how much people love and care about you. So don't let yourself lose that childhood enthusiasm for Christmas. Stay a kid at heart, and enjoy the gifts as much as you enjoy the time with the family. So that's all I have tonight. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you liked this story, give me that thumbs up. If this is your first time watching, thank you so much for watching. If you liked it, hit that subscribe button. I got a lot more days of Christmas comics left. So I appreciate everybody tuning in. Be excellent to each other. Love each other. And I'll see you tomorrow.